So UFC 261 just wrapped up as I make this video. It was last night, and that was the first indoor sporting event that filled full capacity since March of 2020. So that was pretty cool. First full capacity indoor sporting event, and man, what a crazy card. I mean, so much to talk about, really. And yeah, pretty much I'll just get straight into it, because we got a lot to go over. The main event, Usman Masvidal. Masvidal having already fought Usman a little under a year ago for Usman's second title defense. And, that fight was convincing, obviously dominant in Usman's favor, but Masvidal didn't take the most damage. So a lot of people thought, he might have a shot, standing in this fight. But man, Usman carries that power, and that knockout he landed, that knockout punch he landed on Masvidal was so clean. And you've never seen Masvidal get knocked out like that. You know what I mean? You've never seen that before. And it's like Masvidal took a couple of those shots in the first round, I believe. I believe the finish was in the second round. Yeah. Finish was in the second round. And Masvidal took a couple right hands and smiled at him, laughed at him, pointed, whatever. But ultimately, it would be the right hand, the same one he was laughing at, that knocked him out. I think he was ultimately a little bit too confident in his ability to take Usman's punch, and Usman landed a clean, perfect right on the chin. And man, Usman hits hard. And, if that guy knocked out Jorge Masvidal that way, he can knock out anyone in that welterweight division 100%. Henry Hooft is a great coach, but Trevor Whitman has taken Usman to the next level. That's at least the way it seems. And of course, Usman himself has worked himself to the next level. But yeah, it's just otherworldly performance there from Usman. And like I said, Masvidal got a little bit confident in his ability to take the punch, but he didn't look too bad. He had his moments. He threw the flying knee. He had a couple flurries. That one particular flying knee that looked like it almost kind of landed. It didn't phase Usman much, but it was a moment of danger, and Masvidal had a couple moments like that, and it ultimately, as long as it lasted, it was an entertaining fight for sure. But yeah, Usman just packs a punch. He hits hard, and you got to worry about the takedown with him too, which is such a big advantage. He doesn't have to worry about Masvidal shooting in for a double leg. Masvidal has to worry about that, so that's a big advantage in the striking too, similar to, as everyone always brings up, how you saw Khabib drop Conor, fake the takedown. Even kind of somewhat similarly happened with Chandler against Dan Hooker, I believe. But it happens all the time. But yeah, great performance from Usman. Is he number one pound for pound? Is Usman number one pound for pound? I think so, And Jon Jones, even though he's undefeated, Usman's undefeated in the UFC as well. And his more recent victories have been more emphatic than Jon's, I mean, no disrespect to Jon, he obviously is one of the pound for pound best, but, very close decision against Reyes, very close decision against Thiago Santos, and, lost a round or two, at least a couple rounds against Anthony Smith, I think. And it's like, it's like he hasn't fought in almost 2 years, right? Yeah, it's been 2 years, I think. Or no. Yeah, so 1 year, a little over 1 year. That's not too bad, but yeah, I think ultimately Usman coming around, finishing all these guys. He's also undefeated. He's probably number one pound for pound right now. And, that welterweight division is loaded. You got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, who could be a very tough matchup for Usman. Honestly, I think that is the toughest matchup for Usman. Leon Edwards, very high level. Personally, Dana White has spoken about how avidly he wants Covington next, and I could understand that due to how exciting the first fight was, right? The first fight they had was tremendous. But Usman broke his jaw and finished him pretty decisively to me, even though it was a good fight while it lasted, and Covington probably did win a couple rounds, or maybe even 3 rounds at that point. Um, but it's like Usman finished him. But there's other contenders that Usman hasn't defended his belt against yet. I mean, if Leon Edwards goes out and puts a show on against Nate Diaz, or even the other way around, if Nate Diaz goes out and puts a show against Leon Edwards, I don't know how you don't give it to that guy. Or if Wonder Boy goes out there and beats Gilbert Burns, I feel like you got to give it to Wonder Boy. He's never fought Usman, and he's on a three. He will be on a 3-fight win streak if he beats Burns. So I think it's kind of interesting how they want to do a Covington rematch right away. I would like to see a Leon Edwards fight, a Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fight for Usman, or Nate Diaz if Nate can beat Leon. But honestly, I think Usman probably can beat all those guys. But Wonderboy is a tricky matchup for sure. That would be a very interesting one for sure. And that would be definitely one to tune in for. Wonderboy is a tricky matchup. And even, all those guys, Leon, Nate, it's all one to tune in for. But Usman is on another level right now. And, it's going to be interesting to see who they give him next. It looks like they want to do Covington. It looks like Usman isn't as fond of the idea of Covington as the UFC is. But we'll see if that ends up happening, if he ends up agreeing to it and whatnot. But, and what's next for Masvidal? He can fight really anybody. If Covington doesn't get the next title fight, he can fight Covington. He can pretty much fight anybody. I think anyone in the top 5 of the welterweight division would love to fight him just because he's, that'd be probably a pay-per-view co-main event or main event, So, yeah, I think probably anyone he could fight, Covington if he wants, or Leon. They have that 3-piece Minnesota story. They could do anything like that. He could fight Conor if Conor wants to go up to 170. So, yeah, he could do anything like that, really. Nate Diaz rematch. Yeah, I think Masvidal still has a lot of good fights in his future, but I don't know if he will get another shot at gold. I think he's, 37? I mean, that's not the worst, but I think Wonder Boy's 38, so Wonder Boy is probably older than Masvidal. So, I think that's not the worst, but, he did get 2 shots in a row. He'll probably need to get a couple wins before they're talking about him getting a shot at gold again. But, ultimately he did have a good showing, and I think he is a really high-level fighter, but Usman is just on another level. I mean, just very high-level stuff from Usman. So with that being said, Rose Namajunas in the co-main event as we transition over to the co-main event of this fight. Rose Namajunas, man, that was an unbelievable knockout. I mean, I'm never, and I said this about the Francis Ngannou fight, but, I thought when Francis Ngannou knocked out Stipe, that was one of the biggest knockouts ever, because you see a champion getting flatlined like that, unconscious, and there's nothing to debate about it. There's no judges involved. It's just the champion losing their belt in a very, emphatic manner, And that was the same thing here. You see Rose throw up the left high kick out of nowhere. No telegraph, nothing. I'm watching this fight, and next thing I know, her foot lands on the head, and Weili drops, just falls immediately, and it was so shocking. I mean, to watch that live, that was tremendous. And I watched it on TV. I can't imagine what it was like to see that in person. I mean, that was just shocking, so tremendous. Definitely one of the best knockouts in a title fight ever. And like I said, to me, there's just something special about when the challenger wins by knockout. When Michael Bisping knocks out Luke Rockhold, you know what I mean? It's there's just something special about that, because the champion goes out flat lined, when Ngannou knocks out Stipe, when McGregor knocks out Aldo, it's you see the champion just go limp, there's nothing debatable about it. And man, tremendous and it was a 1 minute into the first round. You didn't really even get to see much. It was so crazy, so crazy. Definitely a huge moment in UFC history, really. Um, and like I said, one of the best title fight knockouts I've ever seen. I mean, Rose is on another level, and Trevor Whitman is on another level as well. I mean, clearly both of his fighters winning by absolute tremendous KOs. So as far as who's next for Rose, I definitely don't think that they should give her a Weili rematch. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. She just knocked her out in a minute. Weili probably should go get another win or two. I believe Carla Esparza and Yan Xiaonan are fighting next month. Probably the winner of that could get Rose or Joanna, or they could do Joanna rematch if they want. But Rose has already beat her twice, so it's kind of tough to sell that one, unless Joanna goes and gets a win, of course. But all in all, I think Rose is clearly the best strawweight. Excuse me, and. But yeah, Zhang Weili and Joanna, I'm sure she'll fight both of them again. But I think they might have to go get some wins. Probably the winner of Yan Xiaonan and Carla Esparza will fight Rose. Or, even Mackenzie Dern. If Mackenzie Dern gets another win, that would be crazy. And, there's a lot of good contenders. Marina Rodriguez, who just knocked out Amanda Ribas. She looked really good on the feet, too. So, yeah, there's a lot of good contenders at strawweight. So, I believe there's a lot of fun fights coming up in that weight class. The women's MMA is shining today. Valentina Shevchenko also a dominant title defense against Jessica Andrade. And a lot of people were playing a story that Andrade did have a lot of, problems to show Valentina that she may have not dealt with in her flyweight title reign thus far. But man, Valentina just made work of her, took her down like 7 times in 2 rounds. It's unbelievable. Hardly struck with her at all, and honestly, that's the safe route to go, because Andrade packs a punch, and even if you're beating her by points on the feet, and you could stop her on the feet as well, but Andrade could always land that big punch that changes the fight. But ultimately, not only did Shevchenko take her down, she didn't just sit there and control her. She put her in a crucifix and finished the fight due to ground and pound. I mean, tremendous, flawless performance, just absolutely dominant. It was just that was so fun to watch. Valentina is very fun to watch, especially when she's finishing fights like that. I mean, just an unbelievable performance from Valentina. As far as who's next, I mean, they'll probably give her another flyweight contender, but I think everyone wants to see the Amanda Nunes trilogy, but us fans were spoiled. We like that kind of stuff, but there's nothing wrong with her just defending her flyweight title. But yeah, I do think ultimately the only woman that would have anything for Shevchenko in that cage would be Nunes, and even then, I don't know if Shevchenko can put on the necessary weight. I think she has a real shot, because she is high level everywhere, very high level, every part of the game, So very impressive performance from Valentina. And Andrade, she can do whatever she wants to. She can go back down to 115. She can stay at 125 and wipe out some more contenders over there. She can really do whatever she wants. She's still a great fighter. It's just, she fought probably one of the best women fighters ever, And Valentina just showed that more, that she really is one of the best ever, And man, you gotta really feel so bad for Chris Weidman. I mean, man, I should have got to this. I felt this to me could be like, on one of the biggest, obviously most awful takeaways from the card. I mean, a fight that I was excited to see too, and and that sounds selfish, because, okay, forget the fight. The guy shattered his leg, split his shin, broke his leg, but it's like, that was going to be such a great fight. And even with how hard he threw that low kick, if he didn't break his leg on that low kick, that would have been a crippling low kick. You know, if his leg didn't break, that would have hurt Uriah Hall. I'm sure it did hurt him a little. You know, um, but it's like, man, that was just so horrible, and you just gotta feel so bad for Chris Weidman. I mean, that's just so horrible. He's 36 years old. The man's already had more surgeries than you can count on two hands, on four hands. You know what I mean? It's like, man, you really got to feel for the guy. I really hope he can recover from this. He was just talking about his aspirations of, fighting for the gold again after a couple of wins. And people, everyone who trains with him says the guy's an animal. Anthony Smith after the fight says, I train with Chris, he's an animal. All this stuff. And it's just really upsetting to see something like that happen to someone who just seems like such a good guy. I don't know Chris Weidman, but, he seems like a great guy. And I really feel for the guy. And, I hope he makes a quick recovery. And if he wants to fight again, I hope he fights again. Awful situation. And what a crazy coincidence that he's in the cage for 2 of the 3 times that's like ever happened. I don't even know who the third person it was that I heard someone say it happened 3 times. I thought it was just him and Anderson Silva. So I don't know who the third time is, but that's just crazy that Chris Weidman broke Anderson Silva's leg like that, and then he breaks his leg like that. I mean, my goodness, that is such bad luck for the guy. That is just such bad luck. And even Uriah Hall, that's not the way you want to win. But obviously you feel less. Like I said, that's not the way you want to win. But God, you really got to feel for Chris, because he's the one going through all the pain and the recovery, and his. I mean, he's 36. This is not a good time to be having tragic travesties of injuries like that. But like I said, horrible, horrible outcome for Chris Weidman. You really got to just feel so bad for the guy. And as far as Uriah Hall, I'd like to see him fight maybe Kelvin Gastelum or something like that, coming off a loss. That'd be a fun one. Maybe they can do Uriah Hall and Kelvin, or maybe the winner of Jack Hermanson and Edmund Shabazian or something like that, or maybe Jared Cannonier. That'd be a fun one. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of great middleweight matchups for Uriah Hall moving forward. But, man, poor Chris Weidman, really feel for the guy. And then the first fight to open up the pay-per-view was also a very fun fight, also ended in an injury, but, doesn't even compare to Chris Weidman's injury. I mean, my God, but I don't mean to downplay Jimmy Crute's injury. Horrible, horrible drop foot, and it also looked like he probably, blew out his knee and tore the ligaments in his ankle for sure, Unfortunate outcome for Jimmy Crute, caused by the low kick of Anthony Smith. Very well placed low kick from Anthony Smith. And Anthony Smith looked good. His movement looked great. He was sticking the jab in Jimmy Crute's face, and there was no telegraph behind it. It was from point A to point B, straight shot, and it looked clean. It was snapping his head back over and over again. He was catching him. He even landed a nice double jab at one point, and he was looking very good. Jimmy Crute's eye was swelling up. Things weren't looking good for Jimmy in there, and even though it was like a unusual finish, there was nothing to me, fluky about that. Anthony Smith put that finish on him in a very meticulous way, and it was very impressive, But, man, that drop foot is real when that low kick is landed in the perfect spot. You saw it with Sean O'Malley. You see it here with Jimmy Crute. You saw it with Henry Cejudo and Michael Chandler. You see it a lot. I mean, not a lot, but enough to know that is really, a adequate technique, especially if you can, just place that shot right where you need to, But obviously, that's gonna be hard easier said than done, but man, great performance from Anthony Smith. And all in all, I think, yeah, he's got to fight a top contender in that weight class again. They gave him two young guys, Devin Clark and now Jimmy Crute. And Jimmy Crute really supposed to be a top prospect. And he did look good in there. Powerful low kicks from Jimmy. And it did look like Anthony Smith's leg was getting kicked up, you know. But yeah, I'd like to see Anthony Smith in there with, maybe the winner of Reyes and Prochaska, and they're fighting. Sorry about, excuse me. Reyes and Prochaska are fighting next week, so that'd be an interesting one. Anthony Smith could fight the winner of that fight. Or maybe Thiago Santos, who's coming off two losses to the same two people that Thiago Santos is on a 3-fight losing streak to the same exact three people that Anthony Smith was on a 3-fight losing streak to. It's kind of funny, huh? John Jones, and then Glover Teixeira, and then Alexander Rakic. Anthony Smith, and Thiago Santos both went on a 3-fight losing skid to those same three guys in the same order. Very interesting. But yeah, so I think with that being said, that to me sounds like a good reason to put that fight together. But who am I to say? But yeah, that'd be fun. Anthony Smith, Thiago Santos, or like I said, maybe the winner of Reyes and Prochaska. That'd be fun too. But Anthony Smith looked really good in there, and I think he can pretty much take on anybody in that division. You know what I mean? So that covers the main card. The prelims were really good too. Well, particularly the early prelims. My goodness, the first fight. Ariane Carnelossi goes in there and finishes Chinese prospect Liang Na. The first round of that fight was just electric. I mean, they were just, all of a sudden one girl's winning and then the next girl's dominating and the next girl's in a good position and then the next girl lands a big shot. It was just amazing. But then Liang Na, the Chinese prospect, ended up kind of gassing out there in the second round, and Ariana Carnelossi finished her with, I believe, ground and pound. Jeff Molina with a very impressive win. He had James Krause in his corner, who has proven to be a very great coach. All of his fighters, coming victorious recently. It seems like I feel like every time I see James Krause in the corner, it's his corner that's coming victorious. That just says something. And I've been seeing him in the corner a lot. So very impressive stuff from James Krause, and of course his fighter Jeff Molina, who looked great in there against sorry if I butcher this, Kilangari, another Chinese prospect, Kilangari or something like that. But he also looked very good. Man, that guy could take a punch. Like, what the hell? He was just taking them to the face, just taking a beating, kind of. But at the end of the third round, he ended up pretty much dazing Molina pretty good. I mean, if this was a 5-round fight, that momentum could have been swayed in Kalingo Ray's favor, He clearly showed the tendencies of a brawler and whatnot, but, man, he had tough chin, and his will was never broken. He was always moving forward. He was always trying to land a big shot to finish the fight, and he almost did right before the end of the fight. So even though Jeff Molina won, Kilangori also showed a very impressive performance and showed that he deserves to be in the UFC too. He just clearly needs more work on the nuances of the game. But the toughness is there, the power is there, and the talent is there for Kilangori, clearly. And that was a very fun fight to watch. I believe it got fight of the night. Well deserved. And then Zhang, another Chinese prospect, the youngest fighter in the UFC, born in the year 2000. And he looked good, even though he lost to Vargas, Mexican fighter. Man, Zhang did look good. He was landing shots with power. It's just ultimately Vargas had more activity and did what he needed to do to win 2 rounds. And that's ultimately what got him the win. But Zhang, at being the youngest fighter in the UFC, he'll definitely still be around. And he looked pretty good in there. And then the last fight on the early prelims, I believe, was bantamweights, I believe. Or I think it was bantamweights, or maybe it was lightweights. Bantamweights. Dana, I don't know how, Dana'a, sorry if I'm butchering this. A lot of these guys are like debuters, I've never seen a lot of these guys. Danaa Batagril. And then, man, he just had a tremendous first round KO. I mean, the left hook was tight, clean. It was very impressive. Poor guy didn't get a performance of the night bonus, but whatever. It was a very impressive knockout, for sure. And he's definitely going to be a fun guy to watch in that bantamweight division. He's definitely going to be coming up soon. And then the normal prelims were also very fun. Pat Sabatini had a great performance. Kind of started coasting at the end there when he figured he had won the first 2 rounds, which is whatever, but pretty good performance there. Tristan Connolly didn't look too bad, but ultimately just outperformed by Pat Sabatini. Excuse me. And then Dwight Grant, very controversial decision there. Did I think he won? Probably not, but ultimately, Sekulic, I believe, was his opponent. Didn't exactly seem like he was really hungry trying to win either, Like, I don't know. All I'm saying is, if I'm Sekulic, I'm not so confident that performance got me a win. You know what I'm saying? So, like, even though I thought he probably won, I wouldn't. It wasn't, enough activity to force the judges to say, okay, this guy really won here. Even though Dwight Grant never really landed any big, huge shots, it's like he was throwing more, So the judges see this guy throwing twice as many punches as this guy, even though they're probably landing maybe the same amount. I didn't check the stats, but it's like, it's just the optics to the judges. I didn't think Sekulic did a great job at that, but I did think he probably won. But Dwight Grant, I'm not mad at the decision at all, because it was not a very, crazy fight, And then Brendan Allen, very nice heel hook over Carl Roberson, I believe his name was. Carl Roberson, I believe. Brendan Allen, nice heel hook, and looked really good in there. Ultimately, Roberson went for the Ashi position, and then Brendan Allen took better advantage of it, and very fun performance there. And I think Brendan Allen, I believe he was ranked on the borders of that middleweight division. And I think if he gets another win or two here soon, he'll be fighting some more of those top guys pretty soon. Maybe another Kevin Holland fight or something like that. Since Kevin Holland has excelled past him, and he already beat Kevin Holland, And then the last fight on the prelims was Randy Brown knocking out Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Very nice KO. Randy Brown looked good, plugging his Twitch after the fight. Very funny stuff. But yeah, ultimately Randy Brown looked good in there, knocking out Alex Cowboy Oliveira. And it was just a great card. So much to talk about there. We covered all the fights there. But I just got to say, just to kind of go over a couple things one more time, So, deeply sorry for Chris Weidman. I just really hope the guy can recover. Like I said, that's one of the bigger takeaways from the night for me is like, man, poor Chris Weidman, like, goddamn, like that sucks. You know what I mean? But ultimately Usman probably number 1 pound for pound. Rose, man, tremendous. Valentina, tremendous all around. Just a tremendous card. I mean, probably top to bottom, maybe the best card so far of the year. I would probably say so. That was just tremendous. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment. Let me know what kind of video you want to see next. But this just was a tremendous card. So let me know what you guys think. Leave a like if you liked the video. Subscribe for more videos like this one. And thank you for watching.